Registration is coming soon, so stay tuned.
Regent Parkway.
Registration, there you go. There was the address. Mr. Entertainment just gave the address, but we will be posting a lot of that stuff on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, and all our social media things. But registration will be coming this week.
Yes.
Is that what you were about to say?
Yep.
Yeah. Registration is coming this week, y'all, for our marriage conference.
So you can check out our Ty and Cody on Purpose radio show FB page. The event is out there, as well as our A Purpose for Life marriage coaching Facebook page. The event and details are there as well.
Yes, as you can tell, we are super excited. We want you to be super excited about it as well, because it is what it is. So, for those who are just tuning in, again, we're live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those good places. Share the video with your family. Share the video with your friends. In the studio, our number is 803-692-6370. And the question of the day, y'all, is, can your marriage survive without trust? Now, we talked about communication just a second ago and how we have communication barriers and so on and so forth. But trust is another big one. Trust is another big one that, can you really do a marriage or even a serious relationship period without trust?
I would say that has to be the foundation of your marriage. That's a number one requirement. Otherwise, you're working against yourself if there is no trust.
Okay, because in looking here on Instagram, Queen Maze 1 says, I don't think so, ... Meaning, so the question was, can your marriage survive without trust? I don't think so, ... So my question to you, Queen Maze, we appreciate you reaching out to us on Instagram, was that ... you're quite not sure? Or is that ... meaning like, and that don't make sense. Like, like Cody said, trust is the foundation within marriage. And so it has to be there in order to, make the marriage survive and be successful. There's another one. Female_anatomy in marriage says, no way. Trust has to be present along with commitment.
Okay. I like that.
So in Marriage Wins 101 says, fortunately, trust can be earned again, but commitment is a decision.
I like.
So, and then we have finally Chef Tony 202 says, no. Meaning no, marriage cannot survive without trust. So we got a few responses there on Instagram. We'll read a couple in regards on Facebook as well. Now, the definition of trust is firm belief in reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. That's the definition via Google.
You know what I realized, though, is that trust plays a very big part when it comes to finances, because if I can't trust you, it's really hard for me to look you in your face.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm saying to myself, because as I'm looking at you, I'm thinking about, whatever it is that may be in the back of my mind. So if you say I'll be right back, the first thing goes through my mind is where you're going, and then don't let me just imagine it. Now it's like, dang. So I think it's hard to be with a person, and I don't think you should be with that person when you're always having to draw up this imaginary what if. Because mistrust creates the what if that hasn't even happened yet. Yeah. So now it's a false reality.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, so with the whole thing, and that's a very good point, because I know if I don't trust you, right, I'm gonna be giving you side eye, dude, as well.
But okay, can I ask this question? And this is for our listeners and primarily for those who may not even be married yet, or even those who are married. Really, it's for everybody.
Okay.
If I don't trust you with, like you said, Mr. Entertainment, the finances, like you said, Ty, how can then, if I can't trust you in those other areas, how can I trust giving you my body?
Ooh.
That is 100% true. And in speaking, in that sense, because if you never know what your spouse is out there doing, if you can't trust them to go out there and go to work like they say they're going to work, or go to the store like they say they're going to the store, because they be out there, as soon as they leave the house, they texting, John and Sean or Sheila and Tamika and so forth. And, you never know what they're doing, and you never know what they may be bringing home.
You know, I think it's, if I can't trust you in the natural realm, then I can't trust you physically, because my physical being, by me giving you myself, I'm trusting you spiritually.
But you know what I realized though is that sometimes we put a what's that word, a bow on trust, on what it means, right? So there's certain things that I may try and trust you with, but I'm willing to give up my body in hopes
that it gets better.
But that's the reverse.
Dude, listen.
And it should not be that way. The body should be last. The mind and the heart should be first.
Should be.
Now, if you have my heart, you got me for a long time.
That is very true.
And see, I'm not willing to listen. I'm not speaking for me, but I'm saying I'm not willing to give you that. So I'll give you something temporary because I can give it to you, and I can turn around and give it to somebody else. You see what I'm saying? So
once you have that heart.
Oh man.
Once you have that heart.
And a lot of us are not willing to give or compromise that. You see what I'm saying? So now we're playing this whole game of, oh gosh. So really think about this when it comes to relationships. What am I willing to give up? What am I willing to sacrifice? So if I'm going halfway in, like, well, if you don't work out, I got a plan B. If I give you my heart, now I'm stuck. I done fell in love, hoping you don't break it. You see what I'm saying?
So you're saying it's easier to give up your body, even without trust.
That's what it looks like is going on.
To give up. Okay.
I mean, look at it, with all the, unfortunately, diseases going on and unplanned children that are, birthed out of these situations. It's like, that is the most sacred part of you. Why are you willing to give that before anything else, before you really understand who this person is, and before you said I do? I think we bring on a lot of worries and a lot of unneeded situations when we lead with our bodies versus leading with our hearts and minds.
And your spirit, exactly. So again, y'all, excuse me, live in the studio, 803-692-6370, the Ty and Cody on Purpose show. We want to know, can your marriage survive without trust? Is it even possible to have a great marriage without the complete trust of your wife and or husband if you're married?
I'm going to say, if I didn't trust you with majority of everything that we currently have, because in some situations, you may not trust your spouse in everything. So there's priorities, right? But if I trust you with my priorities, then yeah, we're good. But if I don't, what's the point of being in it?
Biblically, the Bible says trust no man. That's a bold statement there.
And it's very broad.
Yeah,
right?
Broad. That's what I'm trying to say, broad. Because when it comes to, and when it says no man, think about who we are. We're flesh and blood.
Right, exactly.
And
but we're spiritual beings first.
If we allow the spirit to take over.
True.
We have to deny. We have to deny ourselves. Right. We have to consecrate ourselves. But if we ain't keeping that flesh in check, we look at our eyes wander. Things happen, and before you know it, we done made a oops, and it's like, dang,
I'm just human. That's what people say.
Yeah,
I'm just human.
But I think that's a scapegoat.
Absolutely,
it is.
That's saying I don't want to take responsibility
or be accountable.
It is. So okay. So answer me this then. If that's the case, and you happen to, let's say, we have a trust, and you trust me enough to give me your body, you trust me enough to give me your heart, and for some reason I have a I'm just human moment, and I lose your trust as a spouse, can it be re-earned, or is that one of them situations where you just say I'm out?
No, absolutely. I truly believe if you put your all in all in it, it's called effort. And then also too, you have to have humility, integrity, and respect. You have to bring all, because mistakes happen. Okay, we're all human. Some people just don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to prepare the process in the healing part of it to make it come to fruition. I could tell you now that sometimes it is okay to say, you know what, let that go. But if there's a reconciliation process and you've done the due diligence of it and you took the necessary steps to see if that's possible, then I would say, for me, you would see a diamond from its raw state, the cleaning process, because sometimes the best ones are the ones that somebody else fixed.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to relationship, now you may not have been the person for me, and I may have continued to take you through that dirt road, but this next person may come along and have what it takes to build you up. Look at you and Cody. I mean, you guys been through some relationships, right, and now you in this whole thing winning. You know what I'm saying? Right. Is it easy? No, but at least you figured it out to make it work.
Exactly.
And then in my process, the exact same stats could have easily said, "Dude, I can't fool with you," because I shared this with you guys. I haven't shared it with the radio family yet, but it's hard dealing with a rough relationship, trying to figure out, is it gonna work?
Right.
But in your heart, if you know what, I see the real potential. It ain't even him. It's the deep roots of the history that's causing this person to act that way.
Right.
So is it good to say sometimes that it's necessary to lose trust or make a mistake as a person and within yourself, so that way you are humbled? So you realize that, you know what, I truly screwed up. I truly need to get myself together. I truly need to, and not saying that you should intentionally go out there and say, let me go screw up, but because sometimes that happens, what do they say? You don't miss a good thing until it's gone. And so you wind up screwing up and you realize, dang, I really had something good there. I really need to get my act together. I really need to, and we're going to go through some steps in a second, but some things to regain that trust, if possible. And if that doesn't work out, then, like you said, in another situation, another relationship, it may just hit nail on.
For me, though, if something happens where my trust is being broken, especially in the areas of where they are my non-negotiables that we have already communicated and talked about beforehand, I'm sorry, I'm going to really have to sit down and pray on that, because me being who I am, I know that if that one non-negotiable has been broken, I don't want to make your life a living hell because I can't seem to let go of it. It's something, it will be different if it's not one of my non-negotiables, then I probably have a little bit more grace. But if it's in that area, I don't know. You
know what, Cody, I have to ask you, well, not to ask you this, but I have to say this, right? So, because we all have our non-negotiables.
That's true.
Is that a trying point for us to say, you know what, yes, I said this was my non-negotiable, but if God comes in and say, you know what, I know that's your non-negotiable and this is your test. And if you can get past this test, your non-negotiable is going to bless you beyond your imagination.
That would be some blood, sweat, and tears. I'm just being perfectly honest with you.
That's
but you're right, because heck, I could mess up and it could be one of his non-negotiables, and I too would want grace extended, right?
Absolutely. But it's hard. Yeah. But as that deep flesh goes in, it's like, you know what?
Daddy, please.
But the only one that can change that heart
is him. You're right.
Upstairs.
But that's if we're willing.
Ooh, come on, willing vessel.
That is if we're willing.
I'm about to turn this whole table over, because that right there is off the chain.
Right? Because he won't go against our will.
Absolutely. Free will.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Now I'm getting hot.
Church. So, okay. So if you're in that situation, how do you deal with a spouse who has trust issues?
Yeah, tell me, babe.
How do you deal with a spouse who has trust issues? Because it may not necessarily be your fault.
It's not.
It may not be your fault. It may
be the majority of it. Right. Majority of the time, it's not.
It may be a previous spouse. And I won't say we all have been, but most of us have been in a relationship where a spouse may have had trust issues from a previous relationship,
or parenting issues. Because that's big, and it's hard to overlook that sometimes too.
True.
Now I will say, in my research dealing with trust and so forth, I will say if you're dealing with a spouse with trust issues, that is difficult from your standpoint, first of all, because you're dealing with something that you really have nothing and no control over to do with in the first place. So first thing I would say is to first of all pray. Okay. Before you even approach your spouse about it, pray about it. because it's going to take some struggles to get through.
And I think specifically praying for the hearts of the both of you
to turn, yes.
so that you can hear each other's heart, not hear the situation, but hear each other's heart, and to understand the root cause of what led to
the trust issue in the first place. Yeah. And you have to be a supporter. And which basically means, support your spouse through this issue. I always like to say, we all have issues. We all have, our qualms.
God
we all
knows
have,
I do.
we all
firsthand,
have
don't
our
you?
things. I plead the fifth, as I'm not trying to get in trouble.
That's not getting in trouble. That's just being honest. Remember, we always say it's how you say something.
Not what we say.
Yeah, it's how you say it.
So, be a supporter. Support your spouse. Support your spouse, because you don't know what it is they've been through, and sometimes they just need that shoulder of support in order to support them. Try.
So I'm sorry to expound on that. So you're saying, if I were to offend you and lose your trust, would it be easy for you to support me after I have broken your heart?
What was the first thing I said? Pray.
Right. Yeah, you did.
So no, I'm not going to sit here and act like everything's going to be peachy king and it's going to be easy for me to do any of this. But I'm just saying, if in either case, whether it's something that I've done or something you've done or not, or something that someone else has done, and then you've gotten into another relationship and now you are still untrustworthy of your new partner,
and they ain't even done nothing. So essentially, they're paying for the wrongdoings of the previous.
Pretty much. There you go.
Yeah, that ain't right.
Yeah, there you go. But you also have to, second of all, be trustworthy, which basically means, okay, so we're sitting here in a situation and you've told me you've had trust issues from day one. Your previous spouse, your previous boyfriend, your previous girlfriend says, hey, this is what, my ex did. And I don't know, I kind of got trust issues. Don't follow in the same footsteps of the previous. Oh man,
that's just bad. Yeah.
You have to make a conscious effort to be a trustworthy person, so that person does not actually, because then you just make the situation worse, and you make them worse. You make a situation worse.
I just left out of that, and now you're dragging me back into it.
Right.
And Shonda Patrick said something I want to read here. She's following us on Facebook Live, and thanks for tuning in. Counseling and prayer before marriage or any type of relationship.
That's real.
You can't bring other baggage into a new relationship because it is a recipe for disaster.
Amen. Amen and amen again. Yes, thank you, Sharonda Patrick, for following us on Facebook and giving us your feedback. You're spot on with that one. Like you said, counseling and prayer before any relationship.
And we talk about that on this show a lot, is why wait till after you're in a relationship or you're having problems to counsel? It's good to start it early,
ahead of time.
Exactly. Now you're doing the pre-process so that the post-process is smooth and a lot easier, and you're able to deal with it when these situations come up.
And that's one of the things that we offer as a Purposeful Life Marriage Coaching, are for those who are getting, those who are engaged, those who are even thinking about being engaged, those who are looking to take their relationship to another level, to go ahead and get that pre-coaching, and so that way we can help coach you through, so that way you can get to the step of marriage.
Okay, and let's say once you've done all that, right? You've taken those necessary steps, and after you've said I do, you then run into a situation, where trust has been lost.
Right.
What do you do then?
Oh, you have to go back to your tools. You have to you have to go back to your tools. You just can't just abandon, because the question is, okay, so the trust was lost, but are you still following the tools that were given to you in the first place?
Good question.
Because if you're not, then let's figure out why did we abandon those tools? Why were they not working? Was it something need to be tweaked? Was one spouse or one partner not taking it serious and the other one was?
Gotcha.
So there's some things that we have to examine, even after you stepped into the realm of marriage or stepped into a realm of a serious relationship. And you have to, as Sharonda just said, use the tools in your toolbox. For those who actually go through, marriage coaching or marriage counseling, that is the job of the marriage coach or the marriage counselor, to provide you and your spouse with tools to be able to have a successful marriage. marriage, and it is up to you, to do that. Now, I will say in marriage coaching, a marriage coach comes alongside of you and your spouse as an accountability partner to be able to help you go through those things. And that's one of the differences between a marriage coach and a marriage counselor. A marriage coach will actually, is one of where you should be able to call or contact, or, not just during your sessions, but sometimes maybe even in between, to say, hey, you know what, we're struggling here and we need a lifeline.
We have one.
We need a lifeline.
He helps us greatly.
We need a little help. Can you walk us through this situation, because we're trying to make it work, but it's just not easy for us right now.
That's right.
Because sometimes, like we said, you may not intentionally, you have that human factor of you where you may not intentionally do something, and you lose that trust for one reason or another, and you have to reach back into that tool belt and say, look, let's make this thing work. But let's talk about it very quickly. I know we're getting ready. We're running out of time. Again, a great show, Ty and Cody on Purpose. Again, we're still live in the studio, 803-692-6370. We're getting wrap up in a second. But before we go, let's talk about how to fix some of these, the trust issues in a situation where there is mistrust in your relationship. Okay. I would say first, you have to, as the person who lost the trust, you cannot go on and ignore the situation. You have to admit the problem.
Gotcha.
You have to acknowledge before your partner and say, look, before they even find out, why wait? Now I'll tell you, for me personally,
confession.
Yes, confession.
That's what's up.
These
Come on,
are my confessions.
Dude.
Yes, seriously, confession.
But what if they can't handle the truth? Listen. Okay,
and this is this goes back to communication, because that is a good question. Some people can't handle truth. However, if you root your relationship in communication and you all decide that communication works this way and you're doing it in love, sometimes the truth hurts, and you have to go through that truth in order to get to a better place.
And for me, I would prefer for you to bring it to me versus for me to hear it from outside our doors. And
also too, making sure that the environment is right.
Yeah.
The time is right.
Yeah.
So I love it. That one though, for me, some things I heard you're supposed to take to your grave, but I disagree based off of what you just said. So
not in a marriage.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Easier said than done. I know.
Some people can't keep lies.
I can't.
You can't keep up with a lie.
I can't even lie. It's hard.
You can't keep up with a lie. Neither can this one over here.
Dude.
Neither can this one over here. When I met her, oh my goodness, Cody could not lie.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I tried. If I try, I get called. It's so bad. But okay, sweetie, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Sometimes now to be like, you know what? Just don't even say nothing. You lied. I know you lied. We're just gonna keep it moving. It ain't even worth trying to even acknowledge the fact that you just lied. Let's just keep it moving. But yeah, acknowledge it even before your spouse finds out. Be honest. Commit yourself to zero tolerance for dishonesty in your relationship.
Yeah.
If both of you have that where I won't lie to you, you won't lie to me, like Cody said, those non-negotiables, let that be a non-negotiable. In our relationship, in our marriage, it is going to be zero tolerance for lying. If so, then we have to go see a counselor. We have to go see a marriage coach in order for us to continue to make this thing work. I'm not an advocate of you running out on your marriage or your relationship, but commit to zero tolerance. There are ways to address and get that get that thing back on track. Address your partner. Now, I've been in a relationship where, I've done some dishonest things. I'm not perfect. I'm going to admit that. Address the questions that your partner asks. Don't be defensive in response to your partner's needs for questions. Because the first thing you want to do is say, well, Dag, how many times I got to answer that question? I already told you I did it. Like, can we move on already? Like, there goes the defensiveness, which lets your spouse know, okay, you know what? I haven't moved forward. Let's start to work this thing together. Now, at the same time, you should not tolerate abuse. Mm-hmm. You should not tolerate abuse from your partner saying, you know what, well, we're going to do and you're going to do, and you just become verbally abusive to your spouse.
Yeah.
Don't tolerate abuse. Again, it's going to take some patience, some responsibility for your actions, and to focus in on your intentions. The work of recovery, it takes some time. It takes some time, and losing trust is they say what it takes. Takes a quick second to lose trust, but can take forever to gain it back.
That's true.
So if you work on losing it, you better put it in that backpack and get ready to work on it.
That's right. Overtime.
Yep.
Exactly. Y'all, we had a great show. I don't know about you all, but I appreciate you all for tuning in via Facebook, Twitter, Periscope. Instagram, Periscope, all those good places. Again, we appreciate you all for commenting and chatting with us online. Continue to catch us next Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. Ty and Cody on Purpose. Live purposefully.
Love purposefully.
I'm waiting for Cody to say it. Peace. We will see y'all later.
The Brothers in Demand Radio Show. This is gospel music.
Thank y'all, Facebook. Thank you, Periscope. We appreciate your love. We appreciate y'all support for tuning in each and every Monday from 8 to 9, as well as sharing the video. Again, don't forget you can check us out on WB&D Radio to see all previous episodes, and now even your Google Play Music Store and the iTunes Store for podcasts. Again, we appreciate it. Don't forget the Marriage Battle Conference. Registration will be open.